Let's begin with the U.S. Speaker of the House, Democrat Nancy Pelosi, has signed the bills to reopen the U.S. government. This comes after U.S. President Donald Trump yielded to political pressure. The bill at first passed the Republican-led Senate and then headed to the Democrat-controlled House of Representatives. After 35 days, Trump backed a deal to fund federal agencies for 3 weeks until the 15th of February. Democrats have insisted since December that he sign a measure opening the government before they sit for talks on funding for the border wall. And after weeks of resistance, Trump finally agreed to do just that on Friday. However, speaking in the White House Rose Garden, Trump said that if he doesn't get a fair deal from Congress, the government will shut down again on the 15th of February.
We really have no choice but to build a powerful wall or steel barrier. If we don't get a fair deal from Congress, the government will either shut down on February 15th again, or I will use the powers afforded to me under the laws and the Constitution of the United States to address this emergency. We will have great security. And I want to thank you all very much. Thank you very much.
Soon after the announcement, popular conservative personality Mike Cernovich took to Twitter and said, and I quote, "Trump is a broken man. It's over for him," unquote. News website Drudge Report, in a banner headline, said that the deal contained, quote-unquote, "no wall funds," while news site Breitbart posted, quote-unquote, "government open, no wall." House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer said that he hopes that Trump has learned his lesson.
Whatever the time frame, let's hope we've learned the lesson that shutting down government is not an acceptable alternative, period. Whatever the time frame, whatever the reasons, shutting down the government of the United States is not an alternative.
However, the deal will enable nearly 800,000 employees who've been living without pay to return to their jobs. Lawmakers from both the parties expressed relief that the federal government was set to open. Trump's promise of a border wall, keep in mind, was central to his 2016 presidential election campaign.
It would, once the money is in the account, yes, so we don't have to have that fear to make the payment, especially a mortgage and things like that. So, but after that, if we're back to the same thing in 15 days, we'll have to be doing this again. And I'm very grateful about this, but at the same time, it's not necessary. So, just hope that they're really going to come up with a real agreement before February 15, so we can just go on with our lives.
And now we have Ray Locker, senior journalist, joining us live from Washington, D.C. Ray, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on WION World as One. That's the question on everybody's mind. How long will this last? Because we are clearly staring at the possibility of another shutdown, even with this deal.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we have until February 15th to see Congress and the president agree to something. I think the feeling here is that after 35 days of a shutdown in which the president didn't get anything he wanted, that he would be reluctant to do that again. That said, this is Donald Trump. He's done things that many people would not have predicted before, things that other presidents have never done. So he could do anything. But the atmosphere in the White House is that this was a loser for them. And the same in the Republican Senate. Senate Leader Mitch McConnell didn't want to do this. They passed a deal in December unanimously in the Senate to keep the government open without wall funding. So there's really no appetite there to do this again.
Right. But what happens now? How do you see, the state of play changing after a deal like this? Because at the end of the day, this is exactly what Trump has been refusing to do for nearly 35 days. And finally, he's been forced to do it.
Well, what he's been a master at through his entire career is taking a loss and making it look like a victory. So anything he gets that even looks like, a chicken wire fence somewhere in Texas, he could claim that that's wall funding. And I think people in his White House and his supporters in the Senate and in the House are looking for something that he can use so he can claim victory on something. And usually that's what happens in Washington. I mean, you might not get what you want, but you can get something that you can call a victory in some way. And so if he gets any money for extra border security or whatever, he could call that a win, even though everybody knows it's not really a win.
Ray Locker, senior journalist, joining us live from Washington, D.C. with that perspective. Thank you, Ray, for being with us.